for a U.S. Senate seat. And already the political mind games and the attacks are coming up against her. Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the program, everybody. Welcome to the conversation. Roland Martin from at Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show recently recorded a video entitled, let me get the correct title. Hold on for a minute. Quote, Roland Eviscerates, quote, organized attack campaign, end quote, against Jasmine Crockett by progressives and the right. You know, Democrats, y'all need to stop condemning and criticizing each other within your own party if you ever intend to win the midterm elections, especially coming up against the MAGA Republicans. Quote, what's being sold as concern and criticism is exposed as a coordinated political hit once the receipts are all laid out. New polling shows Jasmine Crockett with a clear lead in the Texas Senate race, even as attacks against her intensify from multiple directions. Roland Martin breaks down what he describes as an organized campaign of misinformation coming from both progressive circles and the political right. He dismantles claims circulating online, challenges the sudden Israel litmus test being imposed on Crockett, and calls on the silence directed at Senator John Corwin by the same critics. You know what? And I agree with Roland. Quote, close quote. Why is it that every time one of the Democrats begin to run, you all want to impose standards upon them who don't do for the Republicans? Since when does one have to blindly pledge allegiance to a certain group of people in order to win an election when it was black people who put Jasmine Crockett in Congress to begin with? This is what a lot of folk don't understand. The Republicans are doing any and everything, lie, cheat, or steal. That is their motto. That is their MO. Let's get to the video. I'll be back with commentary later on. And you know how Roland Martin is. He's not going to hold back.
We've been, of course, covering her announcement this week. She announced she's running for United States Senate, and new polling data was dropped today regarding that particular race, and is actually showing that she has about an 8-point lead against State Representative James Tallarico. So when you look at the polling data, it breaks down the actual race, and so this was a poll put out by, don't go to it yet, this is a poll put out by Texas Southern University, and again, it's regarding the Texas U.S. Senate primary race. And so when we look at the poll, this is what it shows right here. The crosstabs show among women, Crockett is leading 57-36. Among men, Tallarico is leading 52-42. Among white voters, it's 53-40 Tallarico. Among Latino voters, 51-41 Tallarico. Among African Americans, 89-8 Crockett. Among voters 18-34, this is probably surprising a lot of people, Tallarico's leading 63-34. Voters 35-44, 51-42. This is where Crockett is winning. 55 plus voters, the people who vote the most in primaries and elections, she's leading by 25 points, 59-44. 4-year college degree, Crockett's up 48-45. No 4-year college degree, Crockett's up 12, 53-41. Among Democratic voters, Crockett's up 53-42. Among independent voters, Tallarico's up 49-41. Now, one of the things that is interesting that I've been watching this week in this race is that there have been a lot of folks, a lot of white progressives, and some black folks as well, have really been targeting Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. And in fact, here's a perfect example. This person, Matt Stoller, okay, and so he and others have been posting. This is what he says. I really dislike Crockett's propensity to engage in dishonesty and gaslighting when asked about her views. If you support Israel, own it. Plenty of Democrats do that. Don't lie about your record and insult people with questions. Now, earlier today, she was stopped by Ashley Banks of the Grio, and she was questioned about this here. And let me play this for you. Watch this. Listen to this.
I know you've seen it on social media where people are saying that some of them aren't going to vote for you because of this pro-Israel stance. What do you have to say about that?
What I have to say is that people need to start to do their research and stop falling for the clickbait. Listen, if you loved me before, then what has changed? You can always look at my voting record and know what it is that I have and haven't voted for, but it's quite intellectually lazy if you just sit there and let somebody else tell you something and you don't go and get the full picture. You can always look at my FEC filings and find whatever information it is that you seek. So what I will tell you is that I'm not going to be distracted, because at the end of the day, I can tell you that Texans are concerned about the fact that we lead in uninsured in this country. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because right now jobs are few. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because they can't afford childcare. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because hospitals are about to close down. And if you have questions, then you should just go and look at my record. I have nothing to hide. I wouldn't be running for office if I had anything to hide. But what I'm not going to do is allow people to sit here and have me on the defensive about something that they don't even know what they're talking about, because it is very easy to look up who is endorsed by who and to figure that out. That is intellectually lazy for you not to just go and look who has been endorsed.
Now,
And I'm going to echo Jasmine Crockett's comments, and I'll tell you the reason why. Within the Democratic Party, you have a lot of racists. Oh, yes, I said it. You still have a lot of white racist men in the Democratic Party. They're hidden, undercover racist. And they don't think anybody but white people should lead the Democratic Party. And these are the same people who influence people to vote against Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. And not only that, but she doesn't have to explain anything. You know what gets me? You all didn't hold Trump to the same standards, and he was evasive about his plan and agenda and purpose to want to become president again. I didn't hear you all attacking him, you cowards. I didn't hear you all saying a darn thing. You are mute and quiet like mice. Now, all of a sudden, because a black woman who is independent with speech, intellect, and who has proven, and I'm going to go on record and say she's going to win the primary, and she's going to go on to become the next U.S. senator from the great state of Texas. It's time for a change. That's the bottom line. She didn't have to explain anything to you all. If you want to know what her record is, stop being lazy. Do the research for yourself. And what about the white, racist, bigoted people in the Republican Party? You all didn't challenge them. You didn't come against them. All that's going on in the country, I don't hear anything about the so-called progressive right in the Democratic Party. And now you all want to open up your mouths and have something to say. You know, some of you Latino voters, y'all just don't learn, do you? You haven't learned your lesson from the past presidential election, have you? You are still just as racist and bigoted as you want to be. Deep down on the inside, that's who you all really are. You're racist and you're bigoted. And that's the reason why you're living with regret. Living with regret because you think that you're one of them. You will never be one of them. You will never be accepted as one of them. And they don't even want you all in the party, but they will use you and abuse you and take your vote and then turn around and spit in your face. Crockett is going to win whether you all support her or not, because black people are going to come out in mass, and there are well-intended good people who want a change. What are the issues? Inflation is an issue. Jobs are an issue. Groceries are an issue. Gas is an issue. Affordability is an issue. Medicaid, healthcare is an issue. These are the things that the MAGA Republicans are not going to talk about. They're going to be slippery on a slippery slope with it. They're going to try to be evasive instead of outright addressing what the issues are. Are you happy with the way that the job market is? Have you noticed that the job statistics has not been released by the Labor Department? Do you think that's by accident? Are you happy with high gas prices? Are you happy with inflation? Are you happy with SNAP recipients losing their benefits? Are you happy with seniors not getting the things that they need? Are you happy with gasoline prices skyrocketing? Are people happy with food prices out of control? Let's deal with jobs. You know how many people are being fired just before Christmas? Hundreds of thousands, even several million were fired within the first 6 months of the brand new year. And millions more, hundreds of thousands more, were fired just before Thanksgiving. And now, with Christmas coming up, you know they're going to fire a lot more under the guise of streamlining, under the guise of trying to make sure that their fiscal responsibility is in check and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You wait until Christmas time and you fire somebody. We need Jasmine Crockett in the U.S. Senate because she will represent all people, bottom line, whether you like her, loathe her, or hate her. I'm like this. I'm for Crockett the same way that MAGA supports their Republican politicians. How about that? They don't care if the Republicans lie, cheat, steal, break the law. They still put them in power. I'm for Jasmine Crockett, point blank. Now y'all gonna mess around and find out all over again. Y'all, some folk, y'all just so stupid. Let's get back to this video here. Somebody just gotta tell y'all just the way that you just won't learn your lessons.
A lot of these progressives have been saying AIPAC backed her. No, they didn't. They didn't. But here's a question that somebody has to ask. How all of a sudden is the Texas Senate race, how is Israel and Gaza a litmus test on this race?
Yeah, how?
Can somebody explain that to me? I mean, we're talking about a state where a Democrat has not been elected statewide since 1994. How are you?
I agree with Roland Martin. How is that a litmus test for Jasmine Crockett? You didn't bring it up to Republicans. I said y'all did not bring it up to Republicans. Did you press them on Gaza? No, you did not, you cowards. Did you press them about the 43-day government shutdown? No, you did not. You sat back and you're quiet about it. Are you fighting for your constituency right now? No, you're not, you cowards. See, you all don't like straight talk. You want it to be passive, docile. It is time within the Democratic Party to get new leadership in the Democratic Party. And it's time to stand up to the so-called progressive wing of the Democratic Party and wipe them out. Get rid of them. Because they're the main ones who are the obstructionists secretly in bed with the Republicans. Stop being stupid. It makes no kind of sense. Haven't you all learned anything from the past election? Haven't you learned what disunity does? It brings defeat. Disunity brings chaos. Disunity causes more disunity. Senator John Crowan is old. He's tired. He's been there almost 100 years. It's time for him to go. Point blank. Senator Mitch McConnell is old and decrepit. It's time for him to go. He doesn't even know what day of the week it is. They have him propped up on all type of medication, and you notice you don't hear anything out of him. Every now and then they'll prop him up before the camera. Man is almost 90 years old. He's someplace taking his Medicaid and his medicine, and y'all talked about the former President Joe Biden like he was nothing and nobody. He's more decent than most of the people that are in power right now. I don't hear y'all saying anything against President Donald Trump because you're scared. That's why. You won't open up your mouth and say anything. Biden's age was a factor. Biden's health was a factor. Biden's cognitive abilities was a factor. Everything about Biden was wrong, if you let y'all tell it. And then you sat back and you took your hypocritical behinds to the polls and you voted against your own interests, and you've been whining and crying ever since then. We don't want to hear it anymore. We don't care. And if you all think that black people aren't going to stand behind, beside, and around Jasmine Crockett, y'all have lost your minds. She will get the support that she needs. And she's going to win this primary, whether you all like it or not. You all said that Mandami in New York City couldn't win, remember? Y'all said he couldn't become mayor. Y'all said he couldn't win the primary, but he won it. And he went on to become the mayor. Whether you like him, loathe him, hate him, or despise him, he defeated everybody and came out the victor. It's true. Oh, you know it's true.
The Senate race. How is Israel and Gaza a litmus test on this race? Can somebody explain that to me? I mean, we're talking about a state where a Democrat has not been elected statewide since 1994. 1994, 4 Democrats were elected statewide. Has not happened since. So, how all of a sudden is this the defining issue? In fact, if you go look at videos and social media of James Tallarico, I don't see lots of posts talking about Israel and Gaza. Now, let me be real clear. Am I not saying that a U.S. senator doesn't vote on international issues? Nope. Am I not saying that a U.S. senator does not vote on national issues? Nope. Am I saying that, the issue of Israel, Gaza, Palestinians, is that a non-issue? No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, don't y'all find it suspicious? All of a sudden, when you're looking on all these social media accounts, including some folks, it's, what's their position on Israel? What's the position on Palestine? Let me help y'all out. I'm from Texas, born and raised. I am still registered to vote in Texas. The Texas United States Senate race ain't going to be decided on Israel. It's not. And let me also say this to a lot of progressives. Next year's election, the 2026 midterms, you got Senate races in Georgia, Senate races in North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio, congressional races, Senate races in Iowa and Maine. It's not going to be decided on Israel.
You got that right.
If y'all want to, we can go back to the Mamdani race in New York City.
Talk about his son.
Mamdani's critics tried to make Israel the issue. He said the issue is affordability.
Affordability.
Anybody who studied any of his campaign ads, I don't recall him making the issue as mayor of New York City, Israel. In fact, I do recall there was a debate. And they asked all these candidates, what are you going to do? What's going to be the first place you visit? You know what they said? Israel. And they got to him, he said, New York City. But I want y'all to see what's going on. See, I just refreshed on Twitter, and I need y'all to understand what Elon Musk is doing. Elon Musk is purposely driving the algorithm. Come on, okay.
And before Roland breaks that down, I told you all before, Elon Musk is still a part of that clannish group. You all once again have fallen for the okie doke. They didn't fall out. They didn't have any disagreements. He's still the racist, bigoted billionaire, or trillionaire, whatever he wants to call himself, that he's always been. He's behind the scenes, like the puppet master, trying to manipulate everything because he can't stand black people. And he doesn't want to see a black woman become the senator? Well, y'all forgot that Kamala Harris was a senator before she became the vice president. And down in the great state of Texas, what about the late Congresswoman Barbara Jordan? Remember her? Who sat on the congressional committee when it came to Watergate. Look it up. I know what I'm talking about. I've been around long enough. I've done my research. Elon Musk is still the same sleazebag that he's always been. Y'all keep thinking that he's changed his views. He has not changed his views regarding nothing. He's still the same. He's still a part of the clique. He's still a part of the pack. He still gets invited quietly behind the scenes to all the events. And they're trying to pull the okie doke again like they did during the presidential election campaign. Don't fall for it. Or you're going to wake up and you're going to find yourself whining and crying and complaining all over again. Do you think Jasmine Crockett is stupid? She knows exactly what she's doing. If she didn't believe she could win, she would not be in the senatorial race to begin with. Same people said Barack Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, Barack H. Obama could not become the first black president of the United States of America. They said it couldn't happen. People always tell you what can't be done. They'll always tell you, you can't win, you won't win. They'll give you 1,000 reasons why it can't be done, but won't give you one positive reason why you can. Stop listening to negative thinking, speaking, acting, do nothing, jealous, envious people. Y'all got a lot of them in your personal circle. You need to kick them out and get rid of them, because all they're doing is sabotaging everything that you're trying to do with your life. Move in silence. I said, move in silence. Stop telling everybody about your plans. Stop telling these same people who couldn't stand you when you were growing up and they can't stand you now. And as soon as they try to see you doing something, quote unquote, they're like crabs in the barrel, pulling you right back down. Because they can't get out and they don't want you to get out. They're steeped knee deep in poverty and they're not going any place and they don't want you to go any place anywhere. Mandami proved that you can have an independent mind with different views and you can win anyway. If I were a politician, I would win. I lay my critics out so bad, they'd be afraid to show their faces before a camera. I wouldn't have no mercy on them. None whatsoever, because as soon as you open up your mouth, I'll be right there and be all over your behind. And I'd break you down. I'd be a non-conventional candidate. I wouldn't play by the rules. I'm not talking nice. I'm not acting nice. I'm out to win and win I would. Now that's how you win a race. I don't have to defend anything. Jasmine Crockett, if you can hear me tonight, you don't have to defend anything to your critics. Stay focused. Stay determined. Yes, you can. I said, yes, you can. And you're going to win. Stay focused. We love you. We got your back. I live in Philadelphia.
And refreshed it. This Blakely is the entitlement for me. She rolled her eyes that voters dare ask her a question. First of all, let's see here. Blakely. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I am Blakely. She's from Brooklyn, New York. She ain't no Texas voter. And then she said, she rolls her eyes that voters didn't ask her a question. Ashley Banks of the Griot asked her a question.
So what? She rolled her eyes. What about all these white racist bigoted politicians that have their bodyguards throw you out of their campaign events? Y'all don't say anything against them. So what? She rolled her eyes. There's always a double standard for black women in this country. They want black women to be docile, be humble, be quiet. That day is over. You're not going to let you all disrespect her the way you all disrespected Vice President Kamala Harris. She still hasn't gotten over the loss. You're not going to disrespect her. I'll be right here to get on your cases. Yeah, I want you to fire me up in the comment section, and I'll be fired up, and I got an answer for all of it. There's not going to be no double standard when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. And if I did live in Texas, I would vote for her. Just like they said that Sherelle Parker couldn't win in Philadelphia, but she won and became the first female mayor of Philadelphia. My God, y'all need to stop listening to these stupid, imbecilic, idiotic people telling you what can't be done. Run your campaign the way you're going to run it. Anybody who's a part of your staff that don't agree with your vision and your plan, get rid of them, fire them. Because they'll be the ones sabotaging from within and selling all the secrets out and giving it to your enemies. You're not going to stop her. All right, I'm not going to stop the video anymore, y'all. I'm going to let Martin talk.
You gotta understand what's going on here, and I need y'all. Okay, hold up. I just scrolled. Go back. I scrolled to the next one. Look at this here. Under examine is how large sections of the black intelligentsia, particularly those produced through congressional leadership pipelines, elite academia, philanthropic NGOs, and legacy black bourgeois institutions like Jack and Jill are structurally aligned with Zionism. Oh, boy, that's a whole lot right there. Let's see, who is this? He's got Free Palestine, Congo is bleeding, Free Haiti, and all of this here. Okay, I got it. But I'm looking on here. You know what I don't see? I don't see a single tweet on here where he's criticizing Texas Senator John Cornyn, who stands firmly behind Trump. See, I want y'all to understand the play here. So here's what the play. So what you're seeing are these constant and direct attacks from so-called progressives, because a lot of people are bots. Like earlier this week, there was some dude from New Zealand who was trashing Crockett. I was like, your ass ain't even American. I said, what do you know about the Texas Senate race? But see, what they're trying to do, I need y'all to see what's going on. They're trying to target Crockett the way they did Vice President Kamala Harris.
Whoop, there it is.
You need to understand what's going. And the smart play, black folk, do not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I am not saying that.
Listen, I got to get back in here. That's exactly what's going on. They try, Elon Musk and all his people are trying to do the same thing to Jasmine Crockett that they did to Vice President Kamala Harris because they're scared. They know they can't beat her. And it's the same old tricks, same old trash, same old lies, same old garbage. And if you all sit back and you fall for this, why don't you all ask these white racist senators where they stand when it comes to Israel? Why don't you ask them the same thing? Why don't you ask those fossils, those lying, thieving politicians? Why don't you go and talk to them and put the camera up in their face? Go ask the white congressmen and congresswomen where they stand. You always want to have a litmus test for black people. Who stands with black people? That should be a litmus test for any white candidate then. What is your stand when it comes to black people? How do you view black people in America? Do you view them as second-class citizens? Do you view them being inferior to others? Do you view them as not being articulate and intellectual? Do you view them as not being productive or non-counterproductive? That should be the litmus test for any white candidate. How about that one? See, you're going to learn to reverse the script. When you reverse the script and give them their own medicine, they can't take it. Then they want to cry foul. Rules of engagement have changed. If y'all not going to play by the rules, she ain't got to play by the rules either. Why should she? If y'all not going to play by the rules, she shouldn't have to play by the rules. Because see, now we know what you're doing. We already know the game plan. We know exactly how it's done because, see, you exposed yourself. And if you think we forgot about the Nazi salute that Elon Musk did, you all must be crazy. We haven't forgotten. See, they think that we have faded memories. We remember Jim Crow. We remember segregation. We remember the sit-ins. We remember the boycotting. We remember the marches. We remember everything. We're not forgetting nothing. This may be a new day, but this is not a new way. It's the same stuff going on today that was happening over 70 years ago. Nothing has changed. And Crockett is not going to back down. Y'all know this already. She's going to win. See, Democrats abandoned Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah, they did. They set her up to fail. They set her up to fail. But this time, black people are coming out united. We don't give a damn about no stimulus checks. We don't care nothing about none of that crap. You're not going to do to her what you did to Vice President Kamala Harris.
The Palestinians having a right to live and breathe is not an issue. But you cannot tell me that the defining issue in the Texas Senate race is Israel. It's not. Michael.
All right. The box just arrived. And
That's right. Black folk, y'all better wake up and get it together. Because y'all going to really be upset when I come before this camera and tell my people off. Because somebody got to.
Yeah, Roland, that was a master class in which you broke down, and I was making some of the same points. Driving the algorithm, just like they did during the 2024 election on TikTok, which is one of the reasons why I got the hell off of TikTok. Driving the algorithm, pushing Palestine, pushing the war between Israel and Palestine, and we see the effect of that. We see how you had all this opposition to the Biden-Harris administration, right? But when Trump gets in office, you don't see a lot of those same protests against Trump and allowing Netanyahu to basically do whatever he wants to do. Okay, and then we see one piece of advice I would give Jasmine Crockett, and I really hope she does win, is the facts, dispelling all these lies and things like that. Put that on your campaign website. Put out social media videos dropping the facts. Don't wait on stupid ass people to do research, because the lie is neatly packaged and fed to them on a daily basis, 24/7. So
Michael, here's the, I understand your point, but here's why that's a trap. They want her to engage on this issue. What Congresswoman Crockett should be saying is, like she did there, I'm going to talk about housing in East Texas, yes, North Texas, South Texas, West Texas. I'm going to talk about jobs. I'm going to talk about affordability. I'm going to talk about what's happening with water quality. I'm going to talk about, see, that's what you do. See, she's going to be Texas voters are going to be talking about determining who they vote for based upon who they can believe will deliver for Texas. So what these people, like this, like some guy I just saw, he was like, he goes, we won't vote for any candidate who voted to give Israel the weapons they use to blow up babies and burn people alive in tents, or anyone that takes money from AIPAC pro-Israel lobby. This is our red line. You have 3 years, better get started. Okay, so he's been trashing Crockett. Got it. I'll say, here's the question, all right? What's Tallarico's position on this? Is he on the record?
I agree.
Now, here's the other thing. Okay, let's just say Crockett wins, Matt. So let's say Crockett wins the primary to this particular professor. So you got Crockett and you got Cornyn. Now who are you going to vote for? Because we know exactly where Cornyn is. See, this is where folk got to I get you can be a one-issue voter, but right now, there's some people in Dearborn, Michigan, who are really upset right now. And they're like, where are the Democrats? I'm sorry, your city voted for Trump. These are policies you voted for, because you voted for the person with those policies, Matt.
Well, I'm a Texas voter, and I haven't been as excited about having a potential Senate pick as between these two as I am right now. I mean, I think they're both fantastic choices, but I actually think you and Michael are both right. I don't think that it's one to the exclusion of the other. And what I mean is I think Michael's exactly right. I think he should I think she should correct the record on her position and what she's voted for and put it on her website. But to your point, I think she doesn't make that the focal point. I think if she doesn't answer it, then she runs the risk of them saying you didn't even answer it, and that's, proof of you doing what we're accusing you of. I think she has to address it. And I don't think she...
Why does she have to address it? Why? Why does she have to address her critics? Stay on point. Stay focused. To heck with the critics. That's what they want you to do. You don't take time away from the central core issues that you're campaigning on to make a few people happy. Just like a parent spending all their time with the wayward child and you got 4 other children that you neglect. And because of your neglect for them, and you're spending all your time dealing with the one that's incorrigible, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how much you punish that child, they're not going to do what's right. So you ignore the other 4 that you have, and now you got 5 of them that you can't control. Think. I grew up in the heart of the hood, in the heart of the ghetto. You got to be strong and determined and relentless. When you're dealing with a bully, you don't answer bullies' questions, you beat the hell out of them, and you keep it moving. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing. That's right. Stay on point, Crockett. This dude ain't in the race. Don't pay him no mind right now.
Makes it a focal point of anything. And I think you're exactly right about this, and especially as it relates to John Cornyn. You talk about a Democrat not being elected since 1994.
John Cornyn is a racist.
From before I was alive, that John Cornyn, he was either the AG or in the state Supreme Court or, all these other positions that he's held. And the point is, this is one of those guys that's been there forever, and he's going to do whatever is necessary for him to stay in office. And no one is going to question him about fealty to Israel or fealty really to Trump. Because what's especially interesting about somebody like Cornyn, he's one of the senior people in the Senate, and he has been licking Trump's boots much more vigorous than anybody else for the last several months because he's worried about getting unseated. So what we need to do is keep it real and talk to all the candidates about the same issue, number one. And the bigger thing than all of that is what we have allowed in politics is people to talk to politicians about things that they either have very little control over or no control over. And to that point, in our local judicial races, local judicial candidates were talking about abortion. Why? You call balls and strikes on the criminal cases that come in front of you in the district court. Who cares what your opinion is on abortion? We as voters have allowed those things to co-opt the actual bread and butter issues that these politicians can respectively deal with. And that is a bigger issue. That's an issue of poor education and a lack of understanding how things work. So we can't allow this race to be co-opted by something where she has a small, control over, and that should not control the whole race, because she should be talking about affordability for the 33 million Texans who deal with all the issues that we deal with because of Governor Abbott and his cronies in my hometown there in Austin. Zach.
This is a newly developed bone conduction hearing aid developed.
That's a stupid fact. Stick to the issues. Because you already know where Abbott stands. And you already know where Cronin stands.
Look, I'm going to tell you flat out, going back to, Michael, that's why we need you on TikTok, right? Like, I'm a content creator, of course, as well as an educator. And a huge focal point of what I do is combat misinformation and disinformation. And I have never seen any state-based race, any Senate race, any House of Representatives race have the level of misinformation that is organized as I'm seeing around Representative Crockett. And, so that's our job. Like that, yes, definitely put it on the website, put it out there. But it's our job as people who care about democracy, who are doing the work, fighting for the culture, fighting for the people, to educate and inform the people. And that's what I do on social media every single day. And I want to also say, when it comes to these people, Roland, when you put up you call them white progressives, white far leftist, and their black friends. Okay, and their black friends, they are out there on social media with an organized attack campaign against Jasmine Crockett, paid for by God knows who. I bet you could boomerang that back to Republican conservative money that wants to see her quickly fall in this race. And what you will not see, though, is the same level of scrutiny of Tellerico. And I get that he might be, for somebody, a great candidate or a great person, but I want to say publicly on this platform that I don't feel this man is qualified anywhere near the level of Representative Crockett. He has some more work to do. He has some more growing to do. When it comes to how to reach Black people, when it comes to how to reach Black people and the issues that are germane to us, he has a lot more research and learning to do. And when you talk about the issue of AIPAC, when you talk about the issue of Israel, when you talk about that, and where Jasmine has voted, don't you dare not talk about where Tellerico has voted. Don't dare forget the fact that during the third special session of the 88th Texas legislature in October of 2023, this man voted with everybody else to support and affirm Israel. That happened. He's on record having done it. It's right there. In addition to that, please don't forget this man's number one donor in 2024 being Donald Trump's friend and your Texas homegirl, Roland, your Texas homegirl, Marion Edelson, being his number one donor. That to me tells me where this man's loyalties lie, not about Israel, but about the people who are funding him and maybe why they're funding him. That needs to be part of the conversation too. I'm sorry.
So I just want to
bring it up.
I just want to show folks this here before I go to a break on my next guest, and that is here. So this is what it says. Black women supporting Crockett per this poll, 92-6. Black men, 84-12. Latino women are supporting Crockett, 49-41. White women are supporting Tellerico, 46-45. Latino men are supporting Tellerico, 61-33. White men are supporting Tellerico, 62-32. Now, why am I showing y'all that? Because if you look at the polling, it shows that white voters are preferring Tellerico over Crockett. Latino voters, 51-4.
No, white racist voters. Let's tell it the way it is. White racist voters are going to vote for him. Point blank. That's it. For no other reason. Because they hate Black folk. And you still got the racists in the Democratic Party who betrayed Kamala Harris and they didn't vote for her. Oh, no, they didn't. This ain't about bells and whistles and singing and dancing. This is about staying focused and winning a campaign. So who cares about Tellerico? He's corrupt. How about that one? He'll take money from anybody. So what white men support him? White racist men support him and white racist women support him. And Latinos, well, you know they don't consider themselves, they think they're white anyway. And they're about to make the same dumb, stupid mistake in this coming up primary that they made in 2024. They just won't learn. It's just, I live and work among them. I live in a community that's heavily populated by Mexicans, Spanish, Latinos, and I know racism coming from them 24 hours a day. But they don't mess with me because I'll light their behinds up. I don't play with them. I let them know I was living in this neighborhood long before y'all immigrated here. Do not come here trying to play games with me. Because every business that you got money from the government to get them started. That's how you got it. You don't come in here on Monday and get a building, then 6 months later it's filled with everything under the sun because you got government loans. But you depend on Black people to patronize you. Yeah, it's a stipulated fact. I don't care. You can like me or hate me. I really don't care. And I know racism and bigotry when I see it. Not all of them, because I'm friends with a lot of them. But you got that certain marginalized group. I wish they would step out of line with me. I will not play them. They'll know that there's a real Black man in the hood. Don't let the shirt and the tie and the smooth skin in the hair fool you. Y'all don't want Crockett to win because she's black and she's a woman. That's the reason why.
They won. But if you look at the polling, Latinas are supporting Crockett +8 over Tellerico. He has, though, a 28-point lead among Latino men. His lead among white men is 30 points. And so they almost tied when it comes to white women. That's critically important. Let me go right here as well. Right here. Favorable, unfavorable. Favorable 85, Crockett, unfavorable 77, unfavorable 92. Now, when you start going down here, let's see here. A proportion of black, Latino, and white voters who don't know enough about Tellerico. Black 47, Latino 15, white 14. Now, when you go right here, this is the one that you have to pay attention to. Proportion of likely Democratic primary voters who believe the candidate would be most successful in mobilizing Democratic-leaning non-voting Texans to turn out to vote for them in 26. Look at the numbers. 53% believe it's Crockett, 34% believe Tellerico, 13% unsure. Now, when you go proportion of likely Democratic primary voters who believe the candidate would be the most successful in convincing Texans who regularly vote Republican to cross over and vote for them, Tellerico 58, Crockett 29. Here's the whole deal. Let me break this down. That means that what Crockett is saying, you're going to need people who do not vote to turn out to beat Republicans. She's saying the likelihood of Republicans crossing over to vote for a Democrat ain't high. So I want to show y'all that so you can understand exactly what the poll breaks down. All right.
Let me break this down to you. And this is how I'm going to end this segment. When Sherelle Parker was running to win the primary to become mayor in Philadelphia, she was not the least likely candidate to win. She was at the bottom of the list. But she stayed in the race. And she won the primary. You know why she won it? Because black people came out in full force. Even during the mayoral campaign, Parker's visibility was not that high. You know why she won? Because black people turned out the vote. And Jasmine Crockett can win. And I'm going to tell you how she can win. You stay on point. You stay focused. You do not crumble. You don't waver. Black people are going to show up and show out at the polls for her, whether y'all like it or not. And they're going to do it because they're going to remember what you all did to Kamala Harris. Forget the polls. The poll numbers don't matter. When you get caught up in poll numbers, you're going to lose. Forget the polls. Do like Mandami did. Stay on point. Keep your issues out front. Every time they open their mouths, talk about accountability. Every time they open their mouths, talk about affordability. Every time they open their mouths, talk about inflation, talk about gas prices, talk about egg prices, talk about food prices. And take their words and throw them back at them. You all said they're eating the dogs, they're eating the rats, they're eating the cats. Everything that they try to throw at you, turn it around against them. And when your people see that you're a fighter, they'll stay with you and they'll bring you to the finish line. It is not impossible for her to become the next U.S. Senator from the state of Texas. They don't want her to win because she's black and she's a woman. That's the bottom line. They'd rather have the old decrepit Republican who's almost 90 years old back in there for another 6 years that would do nothing but go along to get along. And if you all sit around and you decide that you don't want her, you're going to be mad, you're going to be upset, you're going to be whining and crying and complaining. I'm going to come right in here on my show and I'm going to lay y'all out. Never surrender. Never quit.